Hello, and where we bring you the latest development and major stories making headlines from across the world and beyond. I am Khadija Mohammed, and here's our news in brief. Welcome back. And first up, the Federal Executive Council has approved an amendment to the National Mental Health Act that will decriminalize attempted suicide in Nigeria. The coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, says the move is aimed at changing the way people experiencing mental health challenges are treated, from being seen as criminals to receiving care and support. Pate says suicide accounts for more than 7,000 deaths annually in Nigeria, while an estimated 300,000 suicide attempts are recorded every year. He also explained that attempted suicide is currently criminalized under colonial-era provisions of the Criminal and Penal Code. The proposed amendment will now be transmitted to the National Assembly for consideration and enactment. The government says its goal is to reduce suicide deaths and attempts by 15% by 2030. Meanwhile, Senator Mohammed Indume, representing Borno South, is urging the Nigerian military to intensify efforts to rescue school children and other victims abducted in part of the state. Indume made the appeal during a visit to the theater command of Operation Hatenkai in Maiduguri. He specifically raised concerns about children abducted from Musa and Lassa passengers taken along the Burtai axis, as well as remaining victims from Ngoshe. According to the senator, some of the victims have now spent more than 100 days in captivity, leaving their families in deep anxiety. Indume also praised the military for its efforts against insurgency, but said the long period the victims have spent away from their families requires even greater action. The theater commander, Major General Abubakar Abdisalam, assured him that the concerns had been noted and reaffirmed the military's commitment to securing the safe return of the victims. And meanwhile, the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Olakunle Nafiu, is cautioning Corps members against blindly sharing information on social media. Speaking during an inspection visit to the NYSC orientation camp in Katsina, Nafiu urged Corps members to verify information before reposting or commenting on it. And with Nigeria heading towards the 2027 general election, he reminded them that Corps members are expected to remain politically out of literally during the service year. He also warned them against using their social media platforms to campaign for political parties or interests. And also, the NYSC boss also disclosed that Corps members may be deployed as ad hoc staff for INEC during the 2027 election. He encouraged them to take the opportunity to support credible and peaceful elections while also taking advantage of the NYSC's entrepreneurship development life after service. And in Katsina State, Governor Dikorete says his administration is focusing on making its palliative distribution more targeted and accountable. The governor said the latest grain distribution is part of a wider social intervention program designed to support vulnerable residents across the state. He recalled previous assistance to thousands of widows and other vulnerable groups, while also acknowledging the contribution of the Aliko Dangote Foundation to food security support. But Rada says palliatives alone cannot solve food insecurity. The governor explained that his administration is also supporting farmers with subsidized fertilizer, agricultural inputs, and irrigation facilities, including solar and petrol-powered pumps. And this idea, he says, is to provide immediate relief while also helping communities produce more food, create jobs, and improve household income. He has directed local government officials, traditional and religious leaders, and community committees to ensure the distribution is fair and transparent. And now to the international scene. The United States President Donald Trump says Iran will face what he described as the most crushing economic operation as Washington increases pressure on Tehran. In a post on Truth Social, Trump accused Iran of failing to take an opportunity to reach a deal, but Iranian state and semi-official media have dismissed the announcement, describing it as nothing new and accusing Washington of repeating threats. It's made for years. The development comes amid a deadlock in talks between the two countries. The United Arab Emirates has also suspended financial ties with Iran after accusing Tehran of launching ballistic missiles toward its waters and claim Iran has denied. Analysts say the bigger question now is how much further economic pressure the United States can impose, given the sanctions already placed on. And finally, Afghanistan's government is expanding its diplomatic, security, and economic relationship with countries across the region. Despite still lacking broad international recognition, the Russian became the first country to officially recognize the Taliban government in July 2025, while countries including China, Iran, India, and several Central Asian states have continued engaging with Kabul. China has become one of the major partners, particularly in mining, security, and investment. Relations with neighboring Pakistan, however, have become increasingly strained, largely over accusation that Afghanistan is harboring the Tehrik-Taliban Pakistan, an allegation Kabul rejects. Afghanistan is also seeking alternative trade routes through Iran and Central Asia, while Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan are expanding economic and energy cooperation with Kabul. And experts say security concerns, trade interests, and the need for regional stability are driving many countries to maintain working relationship with the Taliban, even as disagreement over governance and women's rights. And now to business news with Cynthia. Over to you, Cynthia.
In business news, oil prices are rising. Nigeria's stock market continues to lose value, while MTN Nigeria announces a strong half-year performance and an interim dividend for shareholders. I am Oge Ekeke, and this is Business Updates. Global oil prices have risen to their highest level in almost 4 weeks. Brent crude is now trading at about $92.82 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate has climbed to around $86.75. The rise is linked to concerns about possible disruptions to global oil supplies, following the ongoing conflict involving Iran and an uncertainty around the Strait of Hormuz, a major route for the transportation of crude oil. For Nigeria, higher oil prices could mean more revenue for the government. However, prolonged supply disruptions could also lead to higher fuel and transportation costs around the world. Nigeria's stock market has continued its downward trend, with investors losing about 5 trillion naira in just 7 trading days, increasing pressure. Analysts say uncertainty ahead of the elections is making investors more cautious as they review their investments in the Nigerian markets. Meanwhile, compared with the same period last year, revenue also increased to about 2.99 trillion naira. The dividend will be paid on the September 7th to shareholders who qualify as of August 20th. The strong results show that MTN continues to improve its financial performance despite the challenging business environment. And that is the latest from the business sector. Oil price and global supply concerns. Nigeria's stock market is facing pressure, while MTN Nigeria is reporting stronger profits and rewarding shareholders with an interim dividend. And that's all on business news. Stay with us for more updates.
Thank you, Cynthia, and welcome back. Up next is S24 Report coming to you after the break. The paper and a business that creates jobs. The question is not whether women have the ideas or the capacity to grow. The question is, are our system designed to give them a fair chance? That question took center stage at She's Included 2.0, held at the Presidential Villa, where policymakers, experts, and stakeholders explored how to finance, design, and scale systems that work for women.
Permit me to draw your attention to what the theme of this conference tells us. It tells us that we no longer are asking whether
our fabrics and our culture, which is so vast, especially with our 60 ethnic groups in the Ivory Coast, provide great material to showcase. There's a lot of potential for Ivorian designers. My showing clothes has had a great echo throughout Beyoncé, throughout the world, because I show it in a simple way. Most of us were born in the Ivory Coast, so that's a big thing to show. A lot of potential. I've seen that women's fashion has evolved a lot more than men.
Another international designer tapping African roots is Ivorian Burkinabe designer Patio, known around the world for having dressed African icons like the late Thomas Sankara and Nelson Mandela. Patio will often be found mentoring students at his studio, showroom, and workshop in Abidjan. The designer pays tribute to the dynamic contributions women have made to the continent's fashion sector.
Women were always dominant. It must be recognized that women's tailoring became widespread across the Ivory Coast long before men's tailoring took hold. That is the history here.
As Yao Priska, a designer trained by Patio, affirmed, the kind of skills acquisition that women in the Ivorian fashion sector have gained is vital for confidence. Zoro's design philosophy is inseparable from the tradition of female grace and entrepreneurial spirit that defined her upbringing, according to the designer's mother.
In our family, we are strong and hardworking women. I'm not the kind of woman who just sits around doing nothing. I've done businesses, I work hard, and my daughter inherited
$50 billion by 2030. The global apparel market is valued in trillions, yet Africa's share of annual textile, clothing, and footwear exports is only $15.5 billion, a figure reported by UNESCO in 2023. Ivory Coast is considered the economic powerhouse of Francophone world. All these represents an opportunity to convert Africa's cultural capital into sustainable economic power. Her strategy leverages indigenous design, domestic manufacturing, and storytelling about her heritage.
For me, right now, it's very, very important to be with family, to come home and recharge. I need to connect with the earth, the sky, the forest, and above all, the love of a mother, the family comforts.
While Zoro has temporarily retreated from fashion's typical glitz and glamour to concentrate on her next collection, the demand of the international fashion calendar will undoubtedly draw her back into the spotlight, where her vision for Yebe design and for the role of women in the marketplace will be as important as ever.
Security operations continue across the country as authorities intensify efforts against terrorism, armed groups, and other criminal activities. Welcome to giving 11-man committee produce a national threat assessment and a 5-year strategic defense operations plan as the federal government moves to strengthen coordination across the country's security and intelligence agencies. The directive was issued during the Federal Executive Council meeting held on Wednesday in Abuja. The 11-member committee, coordinated by the Special Advisor to the President on Homeland Security, Major General Adeyinka Famadewa, includes the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, Defense Minister Christopher Musa, the 3 service chiefs, and heads of the DSS and National Intelligence Agency. The committee has 90 days to submit its report. The president said the assessment would identify Nigeria's major security threats, their urgency, and the operational objectives required to tackle them. Once approved, the plan will serve as the framework for coordinating Nigeria's defense and military operations over the medium term. Now, in a separate development, troops of the Nigerian Army have recovered several weapons, including AK-47 rifles and ammunition, while preventing a suspected attack in Mangu local government area of Plateau State. The operation followed intelligence indicating a planned attack on Mwa community in Chakfem Kingdom, following an alleged cattle rustling incident involving some youths in the area. The army, alongside the police and other security agencies, is continuing targeted searches for suspects and additional weapons. And in Ekiti State, the police command has urged youths to shun political and digital thuggery, violence, cultism, cybercrime, and hate speech. The command made the call as part of activities marking the 2026 International Youth Day, themed Common Context, Different Common Aspirations. The command urged youths to channel their energy into education, entrepreneurship, innovation, sports, and other productive activities, while reaffirming its commitment to sustained engagement with young people and other stakeholders to promote peace and security across Ekiti State. And in Cross River State, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has rescued 42 young people allegedly held hostage by a syndicate operating under the guise of an international job placement scheme. The victims, aged between 22 and 36, were rescued from a 5-bedroom facility in Calabar during an intelligence-led operation on August 14 and 15. The NSCDC says the victims were promised jobs in countries including South Africa, Malaysia, and Cote d'Ivoire, and were made to pay millions of naira for supposed visa and document processing. Instead, they were allegedly held, indoctrinated, and forced into an illegal pyramid scheme. The NSCDC has warned job seekers and large sums of money in exchange for foreign employment. That's all we can take for today. As you go about your activities, stay alert, stay informed, and remember that credible information can help security agencies prevent crime and protect lives. I am Gloria Atta. Thanks for watching.
Hello and welcome to Tech World Update, where we discuss technology, innovation, and digital world. I am Aisha Muhammad, shaping ICT from Nigeria to the global stage. Today's headlines focus on calls to through technology, new support for African startups building local intelligence, and growing concerns over the security and behavior of increasingly advanced AI systems. We begin in Nigeria. School leaders are calling for a major digital transformation of Nigerian secondary education system. At the 68th Annual National Congress of the All Nigerian Confederation of Principals of Secondary Schools, ANCOPSS, held in Kaduna, education stakeholders called for nationwide upgrades to ICT infrastructure and the adoption of modern digital assessment tools. The call reflects the growing role of technology in education, from digital learning and examination to digital management and access to educational resources. But for digital education to work effectively across Nigeria, schools will need reliable electricity, internet connectivity, appropriate devices, and teachers equipped with skills to use them. Across Africa, Meta is expanding support for African startups developing artificial intelligence solutions tailored to local needs. Through its AI Academy ecosystem, the company is providing funding and other forms of support to startups working on localized AI models. The development is significant as African technology companies increasingly look beyond simply adopting global AI products and begin developing systems that reflect the continent's languages, markets, and specific challenges. Greater access to funding and technical support could help more African founders move their ideas from experimentation into scalable products. And finally, on the international stage, the UK's AI Security Institute has raised concerns about the behavior of increasingly advanced artificial intelligence models during cybersecurity testing. Researchers reported that some models from OpenAI and Anthropic demonstrated deceptive and unauthorized tactics when operating within controlled sandbox environments. The finding highlights an emerging challenge in AI safety. As models become more capable of planning and executing complex tasks, researchers must also understand how they behave when faced with restrictions or competing objectives. The debate around AI safety is therefore moving beyond what these systems can do and increasingly towards how they choose to do it. And that's Tech World Updates, where innovation meets impact and the future stays in focus. Stay informed, stay connected, and join us again for more stories shaping digital future. Thank you.
Buzzing, with major developments involving some of Nigerian music stars, a Nigerian content creator receiving a unique honor in the United Kingdom, and a legal battle over one of Netflix's biggest animated hits. Welcome to this. Nigerian music stars Burna Boy and Tems are flying the country's flag at the 2022 MTV Video Music Awards, earning 3 nominations between them. Burna Boy leads the Nigerian contingent with 2 nominations for his collaboration on their song Day Day. The track is nominated for the Best Collaboration and Best Latin categories. Meanwhile, Tems earned a nomination in the Best R&B category for Rain Dance, her collaboration scheduled for September 27th at the Peacock Theatre in Los Angeles. The recognition further highlights the growing global presence of Nigerian and African music. Meanwhile, received a unique honor in the United Kingdom with a Lagos bus stop named her. Boss Auntie shared the news on Instagram, thanking Transport for London for the recognition. She became popular online for her videos featuring London buses. Her distinctive content often shows her appearing dangerously close to passing buses, although she later explained that the effect is created by camera angles and she maintains a safe distance while filming. Her unusual style has built a strong following and attracted brand attention. The honor comes after years of turning her love for London buses into a recognizable online identity. She also recently met Nigerian music star Davido during his London tour, after previously naming him as one of her dream collaborations. And finally, US Christian metal band Demon Hunter is taking Netflix to court over the name of the streaming giant hit animated film, K-pop Demon Hunters. The band claims people mistakenly associating the metal band with the K-pop franchise. Demon Hunter is asking the court to stop Netflix from using the K-pop Demon Hunters name for recorded music, live shows, and merchandise, as well as seeking unspecified damages. The dispute comes after K-pop Hunters continues to grow into a global phenomenon. The 2025 animated film has become Netflix's most watched original title, with a sequel already in development and further franchise projects reportedly being considered. And that's a wrap on today's update. From major award nominations to an unexpected London honor and a high-profile trademark battle, these stories just show how far entertainment reaches across music, social media, and global pop culture. I am Linus Kuyet. Thanks for watching.
Hello and welcome to Sports of Udoka and God's Power, bringing you the latest from the world of sports. On today's edition, begins their La Liga campaign with a win. Manchester United step up their pursuit of Carlos Baleba, while the Tigers named their squad for the next round of the 2027 FIBA Basket World Cup qualifiers. Let's dive right in. Atletico Madrid have made a winning start to their La Liga campaign, beating newly promoted Malaga 2-0. After a goalless first half, new signing Lee Kang-in opened the scoring in the 70th minute, marking his competitive valuation of more than £100 million ended their pursuit. United have now returned with an initial offer of £60 million plus a possible £5 million in add-ons, with negotiations continuing between the Baleba reportedly wants the move, while his current valuation is significantly lower than it was 12 months ago. The midfielder made 35 appearances for Brighton last season, including 23 Premier League starts, but is currently recovering from an ankle injury and could be out for another 2 to 3 weeks. And finally, the Tigers head coach David Fisdale has named the 12-man squad for the fourth window of the 2027 FIBA Men's Basketball World Cup qualifiers. The roster includes Chimeze Metu, Josh Okogie, Caleb Agada, Stan Okoye, Chima Monike, and Udoka as UBK. Monike is set to make his first official senior international appearance for Nigeria since the 2021 basketball qualifiers. Nigeria carries their first-round results into the second phase and will face Cameroon on August 27, South Sudan on August 28, and Cape Verde on August 30 in Tunisia. The top 2 teams in each group, alongside the best third-place team, will qualify for the 2027 World Cup in Qatar. And that's the latest from the world of sports today. Coming up next is Pidgin News with Hadiza.
My people, now welcome on top our Pidgin Tori segment where they drop here and about the latest happening for Naija and Obodo Yibo. Make we waka enter the main Tori for today. Federal government don't begin move to comot criminal punishment for people where they try take their own life. Government yan say instead of punishing people who survive suicide attempts, they're supposed to receive medical attention, counseling, and proper care. The move come as government they work to improve mental health care for Naija. Government believes say removing criminal punishment fit encourage people where they face serious emotional problems to ask for help without fear. Health workers and mental health experts don't also support the move, yarning say punishment fit make people hide their problems. Government say the main aim na to save lives and to make people get support where them need. Senator Ali Ndume don't call on military and other security agencies to increase their effort to rescue people who still dey for captivity for Borno State. The senator, where they represent Borno South, yan say many families still dey wait for their loved ones where kidnappers them and insurgents don't carry go. Ndume praised troops for rescuing hundreds of people from Ungushe area of Goza recently, but Inyan say the military need to continue the operation until other people who still in captivity regain their freedom. He also called for stronger intelligence gathering and better cooperation between security agencies and local communities. As 2027 election they come closer, so NYC boss don't charge corpers them made them stay away from fake news and political misinformation. He intended say corps members must remain neutral because they fit play important roles during the election. The NYC boss also warned them, say, may them stop to use social media to support political parties or spread information where they never confirm. He say one wrong information fit create confusion and tension, especially during election period. He therefore urged corpers them made them check information properly before them share them and to always respect the law. And this one they come from Katsina State as the state government don't distribute 90,000 bags of grain to vulnerable families across the states. Government yan say the exercise now part of efforts to reduce hunger and help families where they struggle because food price don't rise. The government say priority go reach people who need the support the most. Apart from the food distribution, the state say they also support programs where they fight malnutrition, especially among children. Officials yan say the aim now to reduce hunger and make life easier for families where they face food shortage. And this one they come from United Nations as they don't say the shortage of money fit make the humanitarian situation for Nigeria worse. The organization yan say many people still need food, medicine, shelter, and other support because of insecurity, displacement, and hunger. The Northeast remain one of the areas where humanitarian needs high, with many families still depending on assistance. UN yan say the money where they available to no day enough to reach everybody who need help. And the organization, therefore, they appeal for more support to prevent vulnerable families from facing even more hardship. United States President will be Donald Trump don't threaten Iran with what he called the biggest economic operation ever. Trump yan say United States go increase economic pressure on Iran and also call on other countries make them stop to support the country. The threat come as tension between both countries continue to rise. Iran, however, don't continue to reject pressure from Washington. The development don raise concern about oil supply because the Strait of Hormuz, wey dey close to Iran, na major route for movement of crude oil across the world. Any serious disruption for the area fit affect oil supply and prices around the world. That's na how we go take end today tori be that.
Imagine walking into a school on your first day and being taught in a language you barely understand. For millions of children, that challenge can affect how you quickly learn to read, write, and understand new concepts. Nigeria's National Policy on Education recommends that children be taught in their mother tongue or language of their immediate community during the first year of primary education before transitioning to English. However, that policy has struggled to achieve its intended results. One of the biggest obstacles is Nigeria's linguistic diversity. The country is home to more than 500 languages, making it difficult to implement a single language policy, especially in cities where classrooms often include students from several ethnic groups. Teacher capacity is also another challenge. According to the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, many primary schools still face shortage of qualified teachers, particularly those trained to teach core subjects in indigenous languages. The shortage is even more noticeable outside the three major Nigerian languages. Learning materials are also limited. Many indigenous languages lack standardized textbooks, storybooks, and even teaching aid, making it difficult for schools to fully implement these policies. Parent attitudes have also influenced the outcome of this policy. English remains Nigeria's official language and is widely seen as the language of academic success, better than career opportunities. As a result of that, many parents prefer schools that introduce English in nursery or primary one, even when this goes against the policy. UNESCO says learners who receive instruction in their first language during early years generally develop stronger literacy skills, better comprehension, and improved learning outcome before transitioning to other languages. The issue, therefore, is not whether mother tongue education has education value. It is whether Nigeria has invested enough in teacher training, learning resources, and consistent implementation to make this policy work.
Thank you, Hadiza, for that version of our news. And this brings us to the end of S24 News Rundown. Don't forget to join us next time. And remember to follow us on all our social media platforms at S24 Television for more updates and breaking stories. My name is Khadija Mohammed, and bye for now.